who is a, excuse me, in the Illinois House, and he is running for the U.S. House. Mike, welcome to the program. How are you?
Mark, thanks for having me on.
And by the way, excuse me, I mentioned this earlier. I've got family down in the Marion area. I said the big 550 KTRS comes in loud and clear in Murfreesboro and beyond. So we're glad you're on with us.
Go. Thank you for having me on.
Give us the latest in terms of your campaign, and I know so much of it has been about the video that your opponent put out there. How do you get past that part of it, which has gotten a lot of attention, even nationally, and get to talk? How do you get to talk about issues when so much of it is about the video of you in the House?
Well, I actually try to focus, try to focus on the issue as much as possible. But unfortunately, every time you turn around, they keep bringing it up. And it's not that it's a bad thing, in the fact that we probably want somebody to stand up for the people in Washington. I think maybe they're not doing that enough. But we still got to talk about the fact that we need jobs, we need economic growth, not counting the fact we also have to deal with our borders, not counting the fact we're also have to deal with foreign affairs and foreign trade. So you before people and you start talking about those issues and do that as much as you can, and then they'll come back to the other issue.
And I would assume when you decided to run, so you're a state rep, excuse me, you decided to run for the U.S. House of Congress, and you had a lot of attention back in May of 2012 for the outburst there at the Illinois state capitol. Did you think that was going to come up for sure, and did you strategize even about it?
Well, I knew it was going to come up for sure, but I hadn't walked away from it. I still feel that if someone aggressively comes after the Constitution of the state of Illinois or the U.S. Constitution, or someone tries to block the ability for myself as a representative or any other representative to keep from doing their job, which is representing the people, then, yeah, I'm going to stand up for it.
And remind everybody what that was about, because I think now there's no context at all. Remind everybody what happened in May of 2012.
We had, and remember, this was just 2 weeks after Nancy Pelosi in D.C. had said we need to pass a bill so that we can find out what it does. And then here in the state of Illinois, we were dealing with a pension bill, and we'd been working for a year and a half on that bill. And we came in that morning. I was one of the leaders involved, and I said, Mike, that was our staffer. I said, I need our kind of an overview of our dot points and everything like this on that, so that while we're debating it. And he goes, oh, no, it changed in the middle of the night. I said, what changed in the middle of the night? I said, what issue on it? He said, no, they changed the whole bill. I said, well, what's in it? He goes, we don't know. We haven't got it yet. Yes. And so I said, but we haven't got it yet. He said, no. So 10 minutes before committee, they brought a 198-page bill that they passed out of committee based on a partisan roll call out of committee, and then brought it to the floor. And that's what happened, and that's why the frustration was there.
Mike Bost is with us. He is running for the U.S. House, and he is running against Bill Enyart here, the 12th district for our folks in Illinois. And again, I'm fascinated. I'm not a real political junkie, so I'm not. I'm fascinated in some of the dynamics, including like your team strategizing about, okay, so now they're using that clip of your outburst against you, and then you guys kind of turned it around and showed a little bit of it, then you closed the laptop and talk about other things. How much, but I'm also interested in the feedback you've gotten from people out there. Are they, you said you've owned it.
It's amazing the amount of people that are contacting us that are saying, I'm upset with my government too. And I want somebody to stand up for it. And I'm tired of people going to Washington or Springfield or wherever and just sit and say, well, I'm going to get along. No, it doesn't mean you have to be. Let me tell you this. I believe that you have that conflict is inevitable. Combat is optional. So conflict on those floors and in those committees is not a bad thing, because when you express exactly how you feel on issues that are important, then maybe we can work together to achieve what's right.
And what have you heard from people as you go door to door? Does anybody say, "Well, I'm a little concerned that you're going to be a hothead," or that I don't want you getting out of control? Is that a relevant question, even that you controlling yourself?
They can ask it, and some have, and I'm glad to answer. I've had, if you look in the commercial, my wife said, they said that you do that all the time, but it's been there 20 years, and I know I bought you more than 2 ties. So, they take 2 issues that I was arguing and passionate on the floor, but they don't bother to mention the amount of pieces of legislation that I've moved in bipartisan manner over the years that have been beneficial.
And what should this race be about? It's so much of the attention is the actual, ad campaign.
It should be about the fact that right now Congress is playing the stalemate game. They're not moving the pieces of legislation out of the Senate. That there are 360 bills that have been put over to the Senate in a bipartisan manner, and they're not being put. And these are things that could deal with the problems with Obamacare, which is an issue in itself. It also deals with things that are overburdened and regulations against those things that we could create jobs. Not us. I mean, not talking about government, because government does create jobs. They need to get out of the way so the private individuals can create jobs. And those are real issues. But unfortunately, they play the games on the TV with their commercials and everything like that. I would love to talk about the issue. And I hope that I have and presented myself with the commercials that I gave.
Is there a chance that you and Bill Enyart would have a debate leading up to the election?
We do. We have 2 scheduled. We are scheduled on the 8th in Marion, and I think the 29th at Lindenwood College in Belleville.
Oh, very good. Well, right in our own backyard here. That would be great because people, while I think, honestly, some people get a kick out of the whole ad campaign going back and forth, and because It is interesting TV, I think at some point they want to hear both of you back and forth on the issues. So, Mike, hey, we appreciate you hopping on the air with us.
Thank you so much for having me on, Mark.
All right, Mike Bost with us. He is a state rep out of Illinois, Southern Illinois, from the Murfreesboro area, running for the U.S. House against Bill Enyart. That should be fascinating as they get into the same room and actually debate. Somebody texted in, "Those commercials make me want to vote for him." And that's from somebody in the 314 who probably isn't even voting in this election because it's taken place in Illinois. And that is what that was what caught my interest, is how do you strategize? I think if I'm him and his campaign, I own that. I told him, "You're damn right I got mad." Started throwing things. I got a little carried away, got a little wound up. And in fact, this is what it sounded like. If you haven't,
I feel like somebody trying to be released from Egypt. Let my people go!
Now, he may have been a little over-caffeinated that day, but I think the point a politician is outraged, I think people buy into that. And we'll make an offer to Bill Enyart as well to come on the show. Equal time, I'm pretty sure, even though we're not political junkies. That's McGraw's domain. He loves that stuff. But I think these commercials have gotten everyone's attention, and typically the political ad season wears you out. I think these are entertaining enough that it does get your attention. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back, give something away.